Well, on this video, we're going to talk about needs analysis, what it is, the objectives of needs analysis, how to do it, how to perform one, and let's have an example of it. First of all, let's talk about the definition of a needs analysis. According to this definition from Bleich in 2018, it says needs analysis definition involves the process of identification and evaluation of needs. It is the first step that should be taken in order to successfully develop an effective training program. First of all, then we need to consider all the types of needs according to learners, according to the types of learners, and in different areas. So we should consider, for example, the multiple intelligences. We should consider, for example, the learning preferences. If we talk about multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner, we could talk about, well, musical intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, intrapersonal, interpersonal, spacing intelligence, and all these type of areas. If you want to know more, just comment in the video, and I will create a video about talking about multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. But we should consider that. Also, we should consider the learning preference. Again, if you want to know more about that, comment in the video, and I'll create a video about the learning preferences, which are basically visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or reading comprehensive intelligence as well, preference as well, sorry. So we should consider all those characteristics of our learners, but also we should consider if our learners have a personal need, a learning need, or a professional need. So if we divide those three things, like personal needs, someone who wants to learn English, the best example is because he likes English. He or she likes English and is interested in the language. So it does it because there's an intrinsic motivation for it. But there's also a learning need. Let's imagine someone who just wants to pass a reading comprehension test so he can access a master's degree, for example. So his need is very specific, is just a learning need, reading comprehension, and that's it. He doesn't require to know more than only that. Or someone who just wants to improve his fluency. That will be a learning need. And we also have the professional needs, someone who needs English in order to have a promotion at work or to raise salary. Those are different needs. If you teach, for example, in elementary school or secondary school in the basic education levels, the needs will go more for personal needs, right? Rather than learning need or than professional need. We could say professionally because they are working in their education. Right? We could also say it's a learning need because they require to understand more about English. But basically, it's because they are there and they have to learn the language. All right. So we need to consider all of these characteristics. But why are we doing this? Why do we need to create a needs analysis? Well, the needs analysis creates a bridge between then and now. Now and then. Today's situation and the future expectation. Remember those terms, all right? Today's situation and future expectation. The needs analysis creates that bridge between one and the other. And we actually, by analyzing the results of the data in the needs analysis, we can create the expectation for the future. For example, we apply the needs analysis in the very beginning of a course. So we collect all the information we require from our students, and then we make decisions on where to take them at the end of a year. So that's basically the objective, creating that bridge. Now, the needs analysis must be applied 3 times a year. In the very beginning, to make the first decisions, in the middle, so we can evaluate if the decisions we made in the beginning were correct or are working properly. Otherwise, we should change it, we should modify things and recreate or reformulate the whole program if necessary. Or if it's working fine, we can continue with the same decisions we made in the beginning. And at the end, to make a final evaluation of how it all ended. And if we reached the learning objectives, of course. So then also we need to consider two types of needs. There are objective needs and there are subjective needs. Rather than we have personal learning or professional needs, all these three types of learners, the one who wants to learn because he's interested, the ones who wants to learn just a specific part of a language, and the ones who wants to learn because it's a requirement for his job. All of the three have both objective and subjective needs. Objective needs concentrates more on the factual information. You know, if our learner has already some kind of proficiency level in the language, and what is the proficiency level? Could be A2, could be B1, could be B2. So based on that, we will also make decisions where to take them later in the future. All right. So those will be objective needs, as well as age, gender, maybe the professional and academic background, and I don't know, the interest or the specific needs in the language. That will be factual, objective needs. On the other hand, we have the subjective needs, which have to do with the affective mechanisms of learning, which are motivation, anxiety towards the language, right? And the attitude towards the language as well. So we may have someone who wants to pass a reading comprehension test. That will be objective need, but he feels too afraid of learning the language. That will be a subjective need. So we could have somebody who wants to be promoted at job. That could be an objective need, all right? And he has an A2 level, but he wants to reach B2 level. That's objective need. But he really doesn't like English and doesn't feel quite motivated to study on his own or to practice on his free time. Those will be a subjective need. So we have the objective, which are factual info, and the subjective, which has to do with affective mechanisms of learning. Well, once we've understood this part, we need to understand how to do the needs analysis. It is important to say that a needs analysis is not a diagnostic test. A diagnostic test will only evaluate the proficiency level of English. And it's part of the needs analysis, but it's not a needs analysis. The needs analysis is creating a series of questions that we will apply later to our learners or to the learners' parents, if necessary, in case of children. So we need to decide what information to gather and why. If we're going to ask some specific questions, we need to understand that we're asking those questions with a purpose in order to build or create our bridge from now to then, future expectations. Then, deciding which is the best way to gather this information, bringing it into a survey collectively, having one-on-one interview, sending a link for a quiz or for a questionnaire online. So we decide when is the best way and how to do it, all right? Once we've done that, we gather the information, we collect the information, and we study it to analyze it, and step number 4, interpret information. So we can make decisions and start acting, creating the material or developing the material or selecting the material that we're going to use, creating the calendar, the objectives, and everything that's necessary to build up a syllabus. Also, make decisions if we're going to create a structural, a topical, or a situational syllabus for our lesson. Watch the next video to understand the types of syllabus if you want to see this. And then once we have acted on the results of analysis that we have gathered, we need to start evaluating. That's going to be the second part, the second needs analysis in the middle of the school program, to evaluate the effect and effectiveness of the actions that we have taken. All right, so based on that second evaluation of needs analysis, we will decide whether to go back to step 1 and start all over again, or to continue on the same pace. Finally, an example. Well, just to have it physical or to have it visual, we need to create a format such as the one that you're seeing here. in which we're going to have objective needs, which is factual information, subjective needs, cognitive and affective needs, all right? And then we fill in the form with the present situation information that we gathered. Once we have written down all of the present situation, remember, and the objective needs, we write the age, the age, the gender, the educational background, nationality, whatever we need about factual information, right? Level of language proficiency in all of the 4 skills of a language. Level of intercultural competence, experience and target culture, okay? Their understanding of the cultural background of the English-speaking countries. And then on the subjective needs, we write down whatever we have gathered about personal interests, learning preferences, multiple intelligences, the attitude, everything that we can collect about it, we will settle down here. So we make decisions to create the bridge for the future expectations. Where are we going to take them? Okay, and we write the objectives quite clear. So in that way, we could have our needs analysis. So you can take a look at this link that you can practice on the needs analysis. Thank you very much. See you in the next lesson.